It's funny that I was requested to review the track Inside on the same day my co-host Ricardo and I talked about the first Masters of the Universe trailer on our podcast. Part of our conversation dealt with the creative push for more 90s nostalgia-based content in this second half of the 2020s. Now that the 9-year period of 80s film worship interwoven with contemporary big-budget filmmaking, courtesy of the Netflix series Stranger Things, has recently concluded.
Even if it came out like 5 years ago, I'd probably be like, all right, I'd be more hyped for it. But I think 80s nostalgia kind of done. It's time to get into 90s nostalgia now.
I agree, and I mean, look like Stranger Things, which is like the peak of 80s nostalgia. It done.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So since Stranger Things done, now it's time to get into 90s nostalgia. And I know we know starting to get some 90s nostalgia kick. Like especially something like X-Men 97 or something like that. So like in my head I was like, if we would get a SWAT Cats movie, I'd be more hype. But it's still looking okay.
But like the Duffer Brothers proved with Stranger Things, Travis Knight will hopefully prove with his Masters of the Universe movie later this year, and The Weeknd proved with his excellent trilogy of synth-pop/R&B albums After Hours, Dawn FM, my personal favorite, and Hurry Up Tomorrow. 80s nostalgia remains a permanent fixture in modern creative output. While I do hope to see a greater incorporation of 90s musical and visual aesthetics in future TV shows, movies, video games, and albums, I wholeheartedly accept the reality that love for the 80s will indefinitely remain in our pop culture consciousness. What makes Inside, the debut single from Southwest-based band Schedule X, so fascinating is that on its surface, it is a retro 80s synth/new wave song, but it's actually the first release in a series of songs reshaped from material composed by the band in the late 90s. The short story, according to Schedule X's promotional IG Reels, is that good old-fashioned life caused its members, Adam, singer, Nathan, guitarist, Ventura, bass/effects, and Justin, drummer, to separate. But decades later, they're back together and reworking their 90s material through a retro 80s filter for a brand new audience. Like his song Gasoline from Dawn FM, which, spoiler alert, his film based on his most recent album, Hurry Up Tomorrow, had the gall to explain its themes to viewers like myself who only wanted to hear songs from Hurry Up Tomorrow. Inside centers on the distorted desires of a man caught up in an unhealthy relationship. Adam, the song's protagonist, is portrayed as the incredibly flawed partner of a woman who appears to have already taken her first steps away from him. Framing the walkout as disingenuous to both parties, he encourages her on both the pre-hook and chorus to accept his flawed identity, regardless of how catastrophic their relationship will become in the long run. He achieves this by utilizing the terms die with me and liar on the pre-hook and do or die inside of on the chorus, the latter of which saves the final word me for the song's final seconds. This creates a metaphorical and rather morbid image of Adam as this empty tomb that his ex-to-be is meant to lie in, not only to understand and accept him for who he is, but to maintain their longevity as a couple. Like Gasoline, and to a greater extent, Blinding Lights, the centerpiece of After Hours, which, final spoiler alert, was also unnecessarily analyzed in the Hurry Up Tomorrow movie, the production does a brilliant job of laying out a sonically delightful bed for Adam's lyrics to, no pun intended, lie on. The synth leads and guitar solos are energetic and exhilarating to the point that it's near impossible to listen to Inside without moving your body, preferably in a flash dance maniac style if you know your 80s dance moves. And I can't help but marvel at how genuinely authentic to its time period this track sounds like, thanks to its superb mixing and mastering. As you can tell, I absolutely hated the Hurry Up Tomorrow movie, but I absolutely enjoyed Schedule X's Inside. The beat is infectious, the lyrics are catchy, and the overall execution of this track is sure to please fans of neo-80s synth-pop and new wave music. And on a side note, I can imagine fans of the needle drops of Stranger Things enjoying this track as well. As both a reintroduction and reinvention of the band, Schedule X certainly hit the ground running with this single. And here's hoping we get some more great music, preferably a debut album or EP from the band in the near future. And that's my review of Schedule X's Inside, which you can stream right now on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Music, Deezer, and iHeartRadio. If you checked out the track, feel free to let me know in the comment section to this video what you thought about it. And yeah, it's a wrap.